Welcome to another conversation on the All About You podcast. Today my guest is Lawrence and we are talking about the world of improv. Lawrence, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So Lawrence, you are an improv actor.
Yes.
Can we first begin by understanding exactly what improv is?
Yes. Improv is a theater type of theater. Generally, it involves players or actors that get on stage, and it's unscripted. They make it up as they go along, artfully. A series of scenes are based upon an audience suggestion. Show can take a lot of different forms. Some people do short form improv, which is essentially funny games. Like in America, we have Whose Line Is It Anyway? And that will last, each scene will last maybe 30 seconds. But then we have long form improv as well. And long form improv, usually the scenes will be anywhere from 5 minutes to up to 20 minutes. And as an ensemble, with several people doing different scenes, we can do a complete show that's up to an hour and a half to 2 hours, all based upon an audience suggestion.
You would throw it out that, okay, someone give me a word or a place or an activity, and you use that as a jumping off point.
Yes, yeah. What we do, I mean, when we hear a word, improvisers are skilled when they start training, they learn that a word can have different types of inspirations. So, for example, something that is orange, if the suggestion is orange, that might be to one player, it could mean the fruit, an orange. It could be the color, but it could also be other things, like I'm walking through a grove of orange trees, or I'm at the supermarket and I am looking at different types of fruit, or maybe somebody has hair that is orange-looking hair. So each of the players think about different things, and that makes it so that the different scenes can be diverse, but yet all relate to the suggestion orange.
If we work with orange, then one person's going to do a little 2-minute thing about fruit. So they would tell a funny story about oranges. And then the other person would think, no, I'm thinking about somebody with orange hair, and they would do something funny about orange hair. Is that how it would work?
Yeah, yes, except they would not do it on their own. They would do it with somebody else. So, for example, if the suggestion is orange, and in my mind I think about the color orange, then I might start a scene and look at one of my players to prompt them to join me in the scene, and I'll say something like, honey, I love painting the new apartment that we got with you. And that was a great choice to choose the color orange. And then the other person responds to that, and we build a whole scene. And the scene happens to be, the funny thing is it relates to orange, but what we talk about might be about something else. We might talk about a relationship, like, oh, honey, I love you. Let me tell you that anything that you pick for our house is wonderful. And then, well, that's great, honey, because I just bought a bunch of orange furniture, and I have an orange coffee table, and on top of that, I have all of our glassware is going to be painted orange. So we take it from there, and so it'll be a scene. And then when the scene is done, it's edited out in whatever format or way that we choose to do it. And then another person gets on stage, usually prompting somebody else to join them, one of the other improv players. And they might start something like, I read somewhere that if you have too much vitamin C, that it could lead you in the hospital, while he's chopping oranges or something. So that's usually how it works. I just thought of that on the spot, and that's how we do scenes based upon other people's, based upon the audience suggestion.
While you were talking about decorating room in orange, I'm thinking, to me, orange, the first thing that came into my mind was traffic lights. So I would come back and say, we've done the lounge orange, I think we should do the bedroom green, and then we can do the kitchen red, and we've got a whole traffic light thing going on.
That's another way of doing it. So if I was playing with you on the stage, and great, you just did a wonderful scene. We could do it together maybe one day. If you do that and you have it so that it's going to be something like it's traffic lights, then that would be great. And then after a while, we would expand upon it. We use a sort of saying, which is, if this is true, what else is true? And so we might have another couple that wants to do things by way of everything is a traffic light. I need to find something to wear for a special occasion, but I just have an urge to dress in different colors, yellow, green, and red. And well, that's a traffic light. Yes, I want to dress like a traffic light thing, or a person that always does things where the colors are traffic light colors. Wherever they go in life, that's what they do. They're known as that type of person. So that's a fabulous idea, and there's a lot of different ways to riff off that.
This is interesting because I don't think I've ever seen improv, and I really could not explain to somebody else what it is. So you've made that a little bit clearer, Lawrence.
Great.
Thank you. My next question for you would be, how did you get into improv?
Oh, okay. Well, actually, I started doing improv before I knew what improv was. When I was a kid, I started doing it. I have two brothers, and we took, and a sister, and we used to take these really long vacations and trips in the family station wagon. And as you know, as a kid, the actual traveling there can be quite boring. So we used to make up games in the back of the station wagon that would occupy our time. And a lot of times we would do a lot of make-believe games. And by the way, improv and being a kid and doing things make-believe are really the same thing. It brings the kid out on you. But I used to do that as a kid. We used to do things like we would build a story one sentence at a time. One of us would start a story. We would have a title to it. And they might start with a sentence, and then the next person, my other brother, would continue with another sentence, and I would continue with another sentence. And we'd always have the sense that we would build a story as opposed to doing something wacky. We'd always look for, where's the story going? So that's what I did as a kid. I didn't know it was improv. So that's always in the back of my mind. Then wait about maybe 45 years later, and I run across this theater that has improv, and I didn't know what it was. It's difficult to explain. Sometimes you have to actually see it, and I show people and I say, that's what it is. And I looked at them playing on stage, and I saw how wonderful and how talented they were, and that I always wanted to be on stage too. And I said, that's what I want to do. I'm going to do that. And that was about 15 years ago. So I've been doing improv for almost about 15 years. About 14 years in January, I will have done improv. And to me, I breathe improv. I love it.
We've talked a little bit about how you got into it. One of my questions is, why would people get involved in improv?
To me, I've seen a lot of people that started improv for different reasons, and all of them are wonderful reasons. One of them is that I've seen people that were shy and wanted to challenge themselves and overcome that shyness. And others that wanted to be more creative. And others just wanted to get on stage and never felt that they could do it alone, but it's easier to do it with other people. And one of the good things about improv, when you're dealing with a very good improv community that do improv, we recognize somebody that might be a beginner or maybe done it for the first time. And our goal as improvisers is to make that new person look good. And so it really doesn't matter what the new person says on stage. They don't have to think about it. They could say something simple, and we'll build around that. It helps people open up. It gives them ideas. It also sort of helps people when you do improv, because you're making it up on stage. You are more present. You're more mindful. You're in the moment, and that helps people as well.
I'm not sure if this is a stupid question.
No, there's no such stupid questions in improvisational theater. Go ahead.
With improv, or are you always striving to make it funny, or can it get a bit serious and dark?
Yeah, the answer is what we do is a lot of people call it comedy improv. But ironically, when we're on stage, we actually let go of the need to be funny. If we are on stage and we go in there and say a bunch of jokes, that might get a laugh from the audience. But the other player might be limited in how far they can take it or what to do in response to it. So we let go of the need to be funny because authenticity is better. And so what you'll have is, for experienced improvisers, you'll have a series of scenes. When somebody says something or does something, they're making it up as they go along. Inevitably, there's going to be something strange or weird or that happened unintentionally. That somebody bought toilet paper and they open up they accidentally open up the refrigerator and there's some toilet paper there. Let's say they did that without thinking. They just accidentally did that. Well, once they did that or said that, it's in the script. So we have to deal with that. So we'll have a world where people put things in refrigerators that don't belong, and we do that all the time. We don't say it's funny not because improvisers try to be funny. It's funny because we adopt the little mistakes that your other improvisers make and continue with it instead of what we call blocking. Blocking is an improv term which means that we simply skip over it and ignore it because we think it's a mistake. There's no mistakes in improv. Once it's said, it's a wonderful gift to the rest of the improv players, and then we go ahead and do it. You'll find that in a long improv type of production or show, there might be funny scenes, and there might be scenes that are touching. And this is going to date me, but think about the sitcoms that we used to have, that I had growing up in the 70s. And if you saw a sitcom, you might have a bunch of funny scenes. I mean, let's take it like How I Met My Mother. That sitcom, for those that might remember that show or watched it. Not every scene was funny. Even the show Friends, not every scene was funny. Sometimes you had scenes that were, oh, that's nice, that's touching. And that's great too. And then the next scene will build upon that moment to maybe do something that is funny. So there's a mixture. Not every scene needs to be funny. And we don't strive to be funny. We let go of the need to be funny. And as a result, it becomes funny.
Because you're saying these shows could be up to 2 hours. How many people would you generally have on the stage to fill in that 2 hour?
Typically, with that type of time frame, we'll have an ensemble that's maybe 6 people. It could be a little bit more. However, I've seen it done by really good people that are just 2 people that do a full, maybe an hour and a half show. That's difficult and challenging, but it's done by people that really do it well and know how to do it. But typically you do want, with a longer improv, you want an ensemble. The people that are not on stage, they're on the side of the stage. Sometimes we have a back line, but it's, I believe, my own personal preference is to have it so that people are on the side behind the curtains. And even though they're on the side, they're looking at the other players that are on the stage, and they are present, they're hearing what they say, and what they do is that they come on stage when it's their turn, and they have their own idea or concept of what to say. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just go on stage, and I just look at my player, and he has a certain look to him, and I'm inspired by the way they look, and that will help me do a scene.
So it's a bit like there is a relay team going on. And I guess the people in the wings, they are listening and they're getting, starting to generate some ideas. If it's particularly the same sort of people you're working with, you get to know how each other's brains work.
Exactly.
You get to know, okay,
yeah.
I know if I bring Sue in, she's going to sort of roughly go in this direction.
Yes, exactly. I mean, think about it as a sports team, like a basketball team. If you play basketball, or when the professionals play basketball, it's impossible for them to train on exactly where the ball is going to be at all times. They can't do it. Just like in improv, we don't know exactly what's going to happen. But as a team, I know how my other teammates think. We communicate with each other by looking at each other. Eye contact is tremendously important. We basically have kind of a broad sense of the directions that we go, but there is a lot of teamwork involved and a lot of collaboration that's involved. There's a concept called group mind, where I play with a group of people so much in the past that I know how they think. Somebody might be kind of good at being sort of a crazy, when I say crazy, I mean like comes out with just energetic, wild ideas. Other people are deadpan. They're the straight person in scenes, which is particularly important to have a straight person. Straight people are the people that actually help the scene have its body and substance. And so I know how everybody thinks, and that's a good analogy with using sports or something else like that, where you have to rely on other people.
Do you think you have to be quite a creative person, be very happy just to get on stage in front of, 20 people, 60 people, and you've got a bit of sort of intuition for other people to think, okay, if I say this, I know Lawrence is going to come back with something, and then I can feed off of that, etc., etc.
Yeah, you'll need all three of those, but you don't need it right away when you start, because again, if you play with other people that are experienced, they have your back, and so you don't have to worry so much about that. But as you do it over time, you begin to develop these type of skills and instincts, much less like any other thing that you do, that you work on. You just get better at it over time. But you need to enjoy being on stage, and some people are horrified by that at the beginning, and then after a while they're not. And you need to be creative, and creative really means that you don't try to think up things. You just try to be mindful and have a playful perspective. That when you're with the other player on stage, one concept is that just like in regular acting, you have the actor, you have the character, and you have the actor. And the character is me, Lawrence Vergun, and the character is the person that I happen to be portraying. And that happens in traditional scripted theater, and also improv theater as well. Well, as a actor, while I'm doing my character, my actor has to be curious. Why? How much? If this is true, what else is true? If you do that, why? Now, we don't actually ask those questions on stage, but that forms inspiration. So if I have somebody that holds a glass in a certain way, maybe by accident, I might say to myself, the character Lawrence will say to himself, if they hold a glass in a funny way, how do you hold other things? Maybe you hold it the same funny way. Or another idea is maybe you come from a family that has a family tradition that everybody, if I meet your Uncle Bob, the first thing I notice, he holds the cup in the same funny way that you do. And so there's a curiosity. So people that are on stage need to, want to be on stage. They get a thrill out of it, even if they might be scared. They're curious. That's better. I think that's a better word than creative. Creative is a little broader. Curious. They're curious about things. And I can't remember your third thing, but I agree with it.
I mean, one of the things I was thinking when you were talking about, you call yourself an improv actor. If we look at a traditional actor, they may be classically trained or acting on TV and film. They will be given a script. They have time to learn the script. They have meetings. They have costumes. They have props. Often an actor will be, okay, this is the character you're playing. These are going to be your outfits. And a lot of interviews you hear with actors say, okay, once I've got on my hair and my costume, I then become that person. And I think to myself, how would that character move? How does that character, as you say, hold a cup of coffee, example? But improv, it's just you in your normal clothes on stage, no script, no costume, no props, and you are making it up as you go along for up to 2 hours. That's big.
That's big. That's big.
It's very big.
That's big. However, I would say that I've done acting and scripted acting, and I've taken courses and classwork in scripted acting, and there are some similarities that help me when I'm on stage without a script. With a script, there is a lot of different techniques that actors use, and one of the techniques is that, sure, they memorize the script, but when they read the script or when they memorize the script, there's no way that that the writer can convey in such detail the nuances of that person's facial expressions, experience, and character, and their inner emotions. There's just no way. It's up to the actor to do what is called taking the script off the page. This is traditional acting, and make it alive, so that they are not just reciting words on stage, but they become very authentic as a character. Now let's switch to unscripted improv. Yes, we make it up, the text of it. We do the same thing though. While we're making it up, we look at each other and we embody the character that we feel that we might have. I happen to think that improv is easier because I hate memorizing scripts. I can do it, but I hate memorizing scripts. And with improv, I can make up the script. And here's the thing, in improv and in good scripts and in real life, words don't matter. It's not what you say, it's what you're saying. And so in improv, I can start saying, where's the lettuce? I'll help you chop it. That's all I need to say. But I might be doing it in a way that I'm very, very angry at you, and I'm taking it out on this head of lettuce, or I look at you. And so it doesn't matter. I could have said anything. I could have said any other words, but I would be conveying the same thing, because it's really words that don't matter. That's really the trick of improv. Words don't matter. They matter a little bit because people need to know what's happening, but it's really not what I say, it's what I'm saying.
I was just thinking when you were saying that, words are a very small part, because it's our eye rolls, our eyebrows raises, our sharp intakes of breath, our shaking our head, our body language. So we could say, oh, you look really nice in that outfit, but the tone is like, what were you thinking? We're looking you up and down again, as in, let's just see how the whole thing works. Although we are saying, you look really great in that outfit, every other part of our body and our face is going, what were you thinking? So I agree 100% with what you're saying. Our vocal outage, shall we say, for want of a better word, is a very small part of what the rest of our body is saying. Yeah,
and that's in real life. I mean, I could say good morning to somebody, and I can mean a lot of different things. Typically, it's just a way to be polite. Good morning. I mean, as much as I love being in the presence of other people, and as much as I enjoy, maybe if I say good morning to the person that's the cashier at the grocery store, I don't really, I don't really spend my whole day really wanting them to have a good morning. Now, I don't want any bad will upon them, but really, my intention is just to be polite. But if I were portraying somebody that just got married and we had a honeymoon and we had this hot evening in where in the bedroom, and then we wake up and the next scene I might say good morning. It has a different meaning, or it could be something where I'm sarcastic to you. I might be talking to my kids who just annoy me. That's not in real life, by the way, but hypothetically, let's say that happens, and I might just say, "Oh, well, good morning." And I could say it differently, which means really I'm not really looking forward to this day of being, with my kids that cause trouble or whatever. So you are correct. The way that it's said is very important. Your body language, the context of which you say it. And that makes it easier for improvisers because we don't worry that much about what we're saying. It is important. It does have a role in it, but it is a lot of times it has less importance than what you might think otherwise.
Another thing that I find quite interesting, and when you hear conversations with professional actors or the conversations I have had with people in acting, a lot of them say the same thing. They took up acting because they're incredibly shy.
Yes.
And they say, when I go on stage, I am not me. I am playing this character who could be a million miles away from the type of person I am. But I've got my script, I've got my costume, I've got my props, this is who I'm playing. And I'm more comfortable playing all these different characters than playing me in the real world. And I thought that was really, really interesting.
Yes, I actually met a few improv friends that were completely introverted. If I'm using that word, inside. At parties or places, they're not shy, but they're not outward. And also other improvisers that are shy. But when you're on stage, I could be a king. I could be an evil king, but I could also be a great benevolent king as well. I could be an expert poker player. I can be a wonderful, intelligent, high IQ person. I can be a clown. I can be anything. There's no limits. Just like in acting, if you audition for a particular script, you can be anything you want, and so that helps. It helps quite a bit because at that point, your energies on stage are directed towards this character that you made up. Even in scripted work, you're making up that character. You're told, maybe the director tells you how that person that you're playing thinks or does, but it's really up to you to grab the stuff inside. And with improvisational theater, with improv, when there's no script, it's the same thing. It's what's inside. But when you do that, you're liberated. You can do things. I don't think of myself as a real high status person. I'm really sort of chill. If there's more than 3 or 4 people in the room, I usually don't take control. I just like to have other people manage things. But when I'm on stage, I could lead a high organizational meeting among the top financial experts in the world and show them this spreadsheet that is immensely complicated, and just make up some stuff. And in improv, you can be an expert because you don't need to be 100% accurate. As long as you come across as knowing what you're talking about, that's cool. And I can do that. So I understand with shy people, just sort of circling around and thinking about them. Yes, they have a chance to be anybody else on stage, and it's very liberating. It's wonderful.
If someone's listening to our conversation here, would you suggest that somebody who wants to dip their toe into the world of improv, they go along to like a workshop where they sort of have it explained to them and some examples, and maybe they get up and do little things. Because you've got a show coming up, which we're going to talk about in a second. But I'm just thinking, if somebody wants to dip their toe in the water, what would that experience be like?
Well, in many communities where they have an improv theater, usually they, at the same time, run a school. Not always, but usually they do that, and where people take classes. And part of their school typically is that they'll have an intro to improv workshop. Maybe it would be something that's like a 2-hour workshop, where you can dip your toe into it and learn about it. If the things are also available on Zoom, like you can take a intro improv workshop via Zoom with somebody far away, if you find that your own community doesn't have that opportunity. I happen to think that improv in person is better, but we've all lived through the days of COVID where everything was on Zoom, and I learned actually you could do that much of it by Zoom. But you do that. I'm right now in Valencia, Spain, and we have the VLC Playground, which is a theater that does acting and improv. I'm a member of the community. I'm not an owner of it, but I'm a member of the community. And I happen to know that here we have an introduction class that is offered in a workshop. But also any place. I used to live in Portland, Oregon. Portland, Oregon has many theaters that do that. New York, San Francisco, Chicago. In the United States, Chicago is a wonderful improv city. So there are things where people can take an intro course and see whether they like it or not. And what is the worst that could happen? They do it for like 2 hours and say, not for me. I understand that it's funny, or I understand it's great, but it's just not my thing. And that's wonderful. I took a sailing class. I was horrible at it. I used to just, yell out. I didn't do anything. First of all, everybody's supposed to be doing their part, and I was just sitting there, yelling out, Chips Ahoy or something funny or whatever, because I had no idea what I was doing. I know that I will never take another sailing class again. That's just my thing. But I took it for a few hours. I've experienced it. I know what it's like. And those opportunities are also available for people that want to learn about or dip their toe in the water for improv.
I mean, before we started this recording, we were talking about, we've both heard that the number one fear is public speaking.
Yes.
And a lot of people who have to, for the very first time, speak at a conference, or they need to present some end-of-year figures in their corporate job, or something like it's their parents' golden wedding and they've got up and, they've been nominated to make the family speech.
Oh, that's the most stressful one. But I understand.
That's the thing. So a lot of people have said, if you've got those sort of things, dip your toe in improv, because it's going to be a safe environment for you to maybe just get up on a small stage or within a group of people and maybe say a few words. But over time, you're going to get used and feel a little bit confident as the weeks go on, so that when you do come to make that speech, and I'm sure, as you say, the speech to the family, your nearest and dearest, is going to be way tougher than talking to 300 people you've never probably met at some corporate jolly.
Yes.
But that's a way people can build their confidence.
Yes.
And maybe, secondly, decide it's actually something they like and take it up as an activity. Yes.
That's completely true. And I've seen it. I've seen people that have improved their public speaking skills. And some people do improv, just a workshop of improv. And other people take classes, and other people do it for years. One thing that I will tell anybody that's listening that wanted to try or wants to try improv is, number one, you'll take an intro course and you don't like it. It's not a big deal. I took sailing. I don't like it. It doesn't affect me. I just know I learned about myself that I don't like sailing. You might learn about yourself that this is not for you. But no matter whether you take it for a 2-hour workshop or longer, it will change you. It will, once you get on stage and start doing it, even if you do that just to try it out, you will never be the same person ever again, in a good way. And you'll learn actually to overcome a lot of fears that you might have. And so for people that want to learn about public speaking, what are they going to learn? They're going to learn, first of all, to have some type of presence, which means that you need to have the audience hear you. So you need to talk or talk louder, project, yes, from a to be or not to be. That is the question. So everybody hears what that is. And then the other thing is that you need to be present, because when you do public speaking, sure, you might have notes and you're reading from something, but nobody likes to look at somebody who's reading off their notes. You need to look at the audience. You might have you might have bullet points, and you need to be present. You need to be present. You are talking to the audience. They are actually cheering for you in most cases, including at weddings, including your in-laws, including people that you haven't seen in a long time. They want you to succeed, mostly, for the most part, 99% of the time. And so what you can do is you have presence, you have eye contact, and you become aware of what you're saying, and you bring it to life. And so the public speaking reason for starting improv is an excellent reason, and I've seen it help people.
I think it's very interesting when you say the audience is rooting for you, because I think if we go back to, like, the family wedding or the family party, they are rooting for you, and they are just going, thank God I wasn't the one that was asked to do that.
Yes, yeah.
So they are like, you go for it, whatever you say, we're going to love you, because it's not me doing that.
Yes.
It's you doing it. So I think that is a great example, because we want people to succeed, particularly in something that is putting yourself out there. It's you and nothing else. You've got nothing to hold on to. It's what you can sort of pull up through your bootstraps. And as you say, they are rooting for you because they want to have a good time, and they are like, you are amazing. There's no way I could do that. We're rooting for you.
That's exactly the truth, and that's the reactions I got from audience members that have never tried it. They said, "You are so great. I would never want to do that on stage because I'm scared," which, by the way, is not true. You can do it yourself. But they love it, and they want you to succeed, and they want you to do good. When you know that, then when you're the person who's the presenter, it helps a lot. Everybody does want you to succeed. And so you can that helps. The fear is always going to be there a little bit. I every time before a show, I still have a little butterflies in my tummy. So it will never go away completely. But on the other hand, knowing that the audience is on your side, or you're at a wedding, all your in-laws and all your people that you invited want you to succeed. That helps a lot.
One thing I was going to ask you, Lawrence, if we just think about somebody coming along for the first time, dipping their toe in, have you seen people who walk in and they're sort of head down and their body language is, I don't really want to be here, but I'm going to do this, and they get up and they just blossom?
Oh my God, yes. And it happens more often than you think. There's like 3 stages of somebody learning improv. The first stage is kind of the initial stage where they actually find out that it's quite fun, or at least it's not as scary as they thought it would be. It's almost like somebody that learned how to dive or jump off the high dive. They did it, they survived, and it was fun. It was scary, but it's fun. And so that's the first stage that they go through. I'm going to skip the second stage for a moment here. The third stage, and I'll explain, I'll get back to it. The third stage is that you do it in your experience, which means you're kind of in the zone. It becomes part of you. And I've seen people that started shy that 5 years later were just amazing. That middle part that I skipped, and I'll now talk about, is called the middle part of learning how to be an improviser. And that takes a long time, because at that, and that could take a matter of a year, 2 years. It could take longer. But that's the same with any art. That's the same with any craft. And it takes a long time. So people that are shy are in the same boat as people that are not shy. They have to kind of work their way through it and learn. But to get back to what you suggested, yes, I have seen, I could name names, people that were, oh my God, that person, I knew that person, and that person was real shy, and now they're on stage, and you can't, I mean this in a good way, that you can't get them to shut up. And again, in a funny way, they're great. I can't believe it. And they open up. It's just amazing to see. I've never seen the opposite. I've never seen people that were wonderful people that did improv, and they all of a sudden become, they hide themselves in a room for the rest of their lives. That doesn't happen. You can only either stay the same or get better, and certainly shy people get better, and I've seen it all the time.
So another question then, Lawrence. You call yourself an improv actor. What's one thing that you have discovered about you through doing improv acting that you were like, holy, I never expected that?
In the process of honing your craft, you become, or you learn how to become more present and mindful. And there's a lot of stuff a lot of articles and information that have come out recently about the importance of being present and mindfulness. And so when you're on the stage doing improv, I have to have all my senses open. I have to think about what I say. I have to think about what the other person's saying. I have to think about other characters that might be coming into the scene. I have to think about where we put the invisible table that we just created so that I don't go through it. I have to think about all those things. Well, how do you do it? Well, then you become you become mindful and present, and you actually feel that you're living this this room that you've created. So when I'm off stage and I'm taking the bus, or I'm just sitting somewhere, I close my eyes and I hear things. I hear birds or traffic. It doesn't have to be good. It can be bad too. And I can watch things. I can watch the leaves and how the wind blows against the leaves. Things that you saw when you were 4 years old.
That was all new and magical.
Everything was new and magical. We all still have it in us, because when we see a tree, there's no way that the tree is going to ever be the same in the moment that you looked at it. And to me, the wow gift of improv is that now I can go somewhere and be somewhere, and I can actually enjoy and breathe in life.
That is really, really interesting what you said there.
Yeah.
And I had a guest on, Alexi, who is doing stand-up comedy. And one of the things I said to him, when you are out and about just doing your daily whatever, your daily routine, you obviously see something and you think, oh God, that is going to make a good little sketch, or I can create a story around that. When you're out and about, do you see people or things that happen and you think, oh, yeah, I can turn that on its head?
Yes. First of all, you hear things that are, scenarios. So you might be in a restaurant, and then you might find, one time I was in a restaurant and the kid was in charge in a good way. The kid was actually in charge of the menu and making decisions about what their mom and dad should have, and mom and dad was fine with it. I thought, that's like awesome. It's like this really intelligent person. So you see information, but mostly when you're out and about, we do a lot of actors, scripted actors, and improv actors as well. We do a lot of people watching. Without I know
People
we
watching, love it.
yeah, so we could sit down and we look at it, and we look at how people move, how they pick up things, how they put down things, how they hold things, how they look at people, how they walk. When they walk, do they walk, maybe chin first, or maybe they walk where the belly precedes them? Do are they curvy walkers? If they have to make a turn, do they kind of curve around, or are they kind of like real, pointed square actors, or I'm sorry, square people? Square in the sense that when they turn directions, they do it quickly. How are they slunched over? Are they relaxed? Where do they put their hands? That's important, because when I do people watching, I learn a zillion ways of how people put their hands. Sometimes they put it in their pockets. Sometimes they fold it. Sometimes they put it on their hips. Sometimes they scratch their head a lot. And so I look at that and I say, wonderful. And I go home I go home and I try to imitate it. So when I'm on stage, I do these characters. And when you do these characters, then again, words don't matter. I can say, hi boss, I'm ready to start working. But my hands will be situated, depending on the character that I choose, in different ways. Maybe it'll be on my hips, and I'm confident. I'm ready. This is going to be the day we're going to make some great stuff. Or maybe I'm scratching my head because I'm just sort of like a confused type of person. So off stage, what I learned as a actor is people watching, looking at people, looking at their character. No two people are the same, and that gets incorporated into material on stage as to what a character should look like.
It's really interesting you saying that, because I was thinking, when I was at school, I had a maths teacher, and I've told this story before, and she used to wear numerous bracelets and bangles, and I'm a very visual person. So when she was trying to explain something, all I could see was these bangles moving around as if she was trying to guide aircraft in. I could focus on that. I couldn't hear a word she was saying. So I would gaze out the window so that I could hear what she was saying. And she was always reprimanding me for dreaming, just you're gazing out the window, listen to what I'm saying. And I kept saying to her, I cannot hear you because I can't get past all your jangly bracelets.
Yeah.
Then I got accused of being cheeky. But as an adult, I have understood if I'm trying to listen in depth to learn something, I need to... Colouring works brilliant for me, because if I'm colouring, I am listening intently to what that person is saying.
Yeah.
If I'm distracted by bracelets who are bringing in aircraft because she's waving her hands around, I hear nothing.
Yeah.
So when you're saying about watching people's bodies, how they use their hands, they are saying far more with their body than actually what's coming out of their mouth.
Yeah. Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's great. It's wonderful to see it and to hear it, and it's great material. All people are wonderful. All people are lovely. They're lovely to watch. I mean, of course, we have our bad apples in the world, but people off the street are wonderful. And everybody has things that are quirky about them that you look at and you exaggerate. And we do it in such a way that we don't try to disparage people, but that's how they move. We might exaggerate it on stage a little bit, but it's just kind of a wonderful thing.
So you're never really going to run out of material. You're never going to run out of words and ideas, and you're never going to run out of mannerisms and body language from people.
Right. As long as there's another bus that I can take to watch people. Again, I don't want to be strange about it. I mean, I do have to go from point A to point B. But as long as there's a crowd of people, then that's wonderful. So there's unlimited material.
So before we finish, Lawrence, you have really given us a real good eye-opener and information about the world of improv. Let's just talk about this show you've got coming up, where it is, when it is, and what's going to happen.
Great. So this is for people that happen to be in the Valencia city, Spain area, or if you want to, you could fly in, and we would love to have you. And so we have coming up on Wednesday, October 8th at 7:30 p.m. a VLC Playground. That's the name of the theater that I am a member of. So it's their show, but I'm in it. And it's the VLC Playground Comedy Improv Jam. It's an improv jam where anybody can get on stage and try out improv with the support of the other players who will make sure that you succeed. And it's fun and there's no experience necessary. It's going to be at the Market Bar Cabanal, Wednesday, October 8th at 7:30 p.m. No reservations required, no fee. You could join us on stage, or you could just watch. There's a lot of people that go to these jams and they just watch. So we're going to start the evening with a jam, and then at the end of the evening, I'll be performing some improv. I don't know what I'm going to do because it's going to be based upon the audience suggestion, but I'll have a chance to perform there as well. If you can't make it to this event, the VLC Playground has a website, so you can learn about other events that be happening, some of which I'm a part of, others wonderful other improvisers are a part of. But I hope to see you there if you're able to make it.
Lawrence, thank you so much for this conversation. I mean, I had no idea. I even looked up what is improv because I thought, I really haven't got a clue. It's been brilliant, the conversation.
Well, thank you. Great. I enjoy chatting about it, and I enjoy spreading the good word.
Well, I'm definitely going to include the links to the show you've got coming up in October, on Wednesday the 8th of October, and also we'll include the link to the VLC Playground as well.
Great. That sounds wonderful. Good.
Lawrence, thank you so much for being a guest on the All About You podcast.
Well, thank you for having me.
I hope you enjoyed that conversation. And if you would like to be a guest on the All About You podcast and tell your story, drop me an email on allaboutyoupodcast@yahoo.com and let's get your story told.